Like ever since I left Penn State, nothing's mattered to me more than being the best that I can be and being the best quarterback for this team this year.
Was watching the playoff games tough?
Oh my gosh.
Did you watch them?
Sitting in a quarterback meeting with like Jackson Dart and the guy, I wasn't listening to a word. Like I was like, all right, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I watched TV. I was watching on TV. Like I had to step out of the meeting. I was like, I can't just sit in here while my guys are playing. I still remember that day where it was a Sunday, the week before SMU, the first round of the playoffs. And I practiced that day. Like I didn't even know I was gonna transfer. You know, it was just like horrible timing. And I hope it's getting fixed. You know, it's like free agency during the playoffs. It's insane.
Do you feel like the system didn't even really give you a choice?
No, but I had zero conversations about money with anybody. Like that was, thankfully, like I don't want to talk about that stuff. I didn't know what was going on really, but I was like, that's good. Like I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. I'll play football for free. I love it, but you know what? I'll take it.
Beau, appreciate you doing this, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to talk to you. We're sitting here in your hometown.
That's right. Yeah.
York, PA.
Yep.
At the Inch & Co. Podcast studio.
You can call it that. Yeah.
Inch & Co. Podcast studio.
Yep.
How far is did you grow up from here? Really close? 2
minutes. Like
yeah.
I almost walked here. Yeah.
Love it. Well, it is, what's today? July 2nd or something. It's almost season time. We are getting together and kind of you have a week off right now. And
Yep.
I mean, a lot has changed in your life. I mean, I was just thinking about, I followed you, obviously, being from this area, you growing up, but also I think we recruited you very briefly at Arizona State when I was coaching there, and have followed your career now at Penn State and have loved seeing you have success, but also you've had to make some tough decisions, and you've had to, you know, kind of were one of the poster boys of the new era of college football and the good and the bad of it. And now excited to see you dominate the SEC. So I want to start with this. You know, you've lived through, you know, some ups and downs in your career, and not even downs, just, you know, having to battle through and figure things out when you're in college. You know, what was the moment in your career so far that you feel like you're the most proud of?
That's a good question. I mean, it's funny you said like things are a lot different now, because like they are, and this is not even close to where, you know, I thought I was going to be at this point in my career. But that's kind of expected though. Like when I committed to Penn State, Drew Allar was also in the same class as me. And I knew that willingly. Like I wanted to go even though we were in the same class and everything. But for me, it was always like, I wasn't really looking 3 years ahead. I never really had a set plan. Like I pride myself now, like just take it one day at a time. Like be where your feet are. But I think an area where I was most proud is that really just committing and staying true and knowing each day I'm going to compete every single day. And then when that finally kind of paid off and still getting on the field at Penn State, even though I wasn't the starter, that was big. And, you know, Coach Franklin did a great job getting me on the field and giving me experience and, you know, just, you know, making big plays in big games. I think like one of the proudest moments was when it was my redshirt freshman season and scored my first touchdown. Season goes on, I'm scoring touchdowns, I'm getting in games. And then, you know, the coaching staff continues to trust me that year, you know, as a redshirt freshman, a backup, like first year playing college football. And like it was the Peach Bowl against Ole Miss. And I go in there for 2 plays. The first play was the zone read. I pull it, run 12 yards for a first down. And then, you know, usually I go in there and do, you know, gimmicky stuff like runs and stuff like that. And, you know, the next play is called and it's a pass play. And I'm like, oh man, here we go. Like, I don't know if I'm warm, but here we go. Yeah. So we call a pass play and left tackle gets beat a little bit, step in the pocket and just rip it to Nick. And it was like a 50-yard touchdown pass. And I remember like, this is like the Peach Bowl against Ole Miss. And like you came in for 2 plays in the game and, you know, you did pretty well. And I just remember being so proud of myself because, you know, it's not easy to do that just for like a couple plays, you know, even though, you know, I put a lot of pressure on myself to do that. But like, you know, here I am, like redshirt freshman. I've come a long way from like just being, you know, a run first quarterback, you know, in the same class as Drew, you know, not sure what my plan is, but like I knew, you know, from that point that, you know, I had confidence in myself to be a good player and I was pretty proud of myself at that moment.
Let's go back to your recruitment in high school. We were talking offline. I remember I was at Arizona State coaching, and you were a PA kid from, kind of where I grew up, who I was following, and obviously knew your family and everything. There was a lot of talk about what position you'd actually play, if I remember correctly, right? Like people used to say, like, he's not going to be a quarterback.
Yep.
Or it was that you weren't a passing quarterback. You had to play in like an option system or something like that. I remember being in our staff meeting at Arizona State, and our whole coaching staff's in there. And I remember pulling up your film and being like, hey, we should look at this guy from York, Pennsylvania as our quarterback. We needed a quarterback in the class. And I remember our coaching staff all being like he's not good enough to go to Pennsylvania to go get. He's not even going to play quarterback in the future. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that was a narrative that a lot of people said. It's funny now, like looking at your career and where you're at, that obviously you proved a lot of those people wrong. But I also feel like Coach Franklin at Penn State saw a vision in you that maybe a lot of people around the country didn't have. And I think they probably knew you better than most programs in the country. But what was it like going through that, where people, there was talk about whether you were really a quarterback or not? And then is that true that Penn State, you felt like, had that vision for you and believed in you as a quarterback when maybe others didn't?
I think my whole life, I was always a good athlete. Like you said, like I was recruited as, free safety. Mm-hmm. When I was a freshman in high school, my brother was the quarterback. He went to play quarterback at University of Delaware. So I had to play wide receiver and free safety, and ended up being really good at it until I took over at quarterback the next year. But like just being a good athlete, I always, was a just naturally gifted runner. And, I could see how people could think that, just he can't throw well, but he's a good athlete. He can run the ball. Not sure if he's going to play quarterback. Like, I probably agree with him, like, my freshman year at college, like, going in there as an early enrollee in spring ball, like, looking back, like, every now and then, like, I'll see a clip from, like, that first spring, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, like, I was not suited to play at this level quarterback. But I as we move forward, and like I said, like, my redshirt freshman year in that Peach Bowl where I actually, like, threw the ball, I could see how fans or other people from the outside be like, oh, that number 9 for Penn State, he just goes in there and does gimmicky runs, like, he can't really throw the ball. He's just like a wildcat quarterback. And it really wasn't until like the Wisconsin game, the Wisconsin game, where we were forced to call the whole playbook to win the game. And for me, I had confidence in myself going back to the year before. Like, there was a time, I think it was like, again, like right after that Peach Bowl game, where I was like, I have complete confidence in myself as a passer. Mm-hmm. People just don't know it yet. Like, I know my teammates know it. I know my coaches know it. But, like, it makes sense if people from the outside don't see it. But I know for 100%, like, I'm a complete quarterback. There's no doubt in my mind. And it was frustrating, because people didn't know that. People didn't see the throws that I was making in practice. Mm-hmm. People didn't see the player I was becoming. So, but I understood, you just got one day at a time, just keep grinding. And really, it was the Wisconsin game where I was forced to make throws. And that's really where it was like, okay, like, here's 11 throws for you. Yeah. And I mean, people still say stuff where like, oh, like, he can't really throw, but I know 100%, like, I can throw just as good as any quarterback in the country. I can play quarterback as well as any quarterback in the country, and I'm just excited to hopefully show that.
What was it like when you committed to Penn State?
When I committed to Penn State, it was like early in high school. Like, it was before my junior year of high school. Like, I was just like, there's no other school I want to go to. Like, I'm just committing. But it was awesome. Like, I mean, being from here, at the time, there was not a lot of people in this area that grew up in Pennsylvania playing quarterback and go to Penn State. So just a lot of support from Pennsylvania and the people in the hometown and everything. Yeah.
When you think about your dream when you went to Penn State and then how it actually played out, what was it everything that you thought it was going to be? In what ways was it different? Like, I guess, when you went there, like, what did you think your career was going to look like? I mean, I think about my career at Penn State. I'm like, man, if you would have told me when I committed to Penn State in 2013, I'm aging myself, that I was going to, like, end my career at UMass and be an All-American there, I would have thought you were like, you were drunk. Yeah. But, how did how it actually played out vary from what you thought it'd be?
I went there, like I said, I had no idea. Like,
you just happened
looking back, I was like, I can't believe like I did that kind of. Like, I was just like, I'm going here and I'm gonna compete. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, when I got there with Sean Clifford, Christian Veyer, he's now at Georgia State. Just saw him at the Manning Passing Academy, was spinning it. And then Drew. And I was like, okay, this is Sean's last year. And then after that, I'm just going to compete with Christian and Drew, and I'm just going to work my butt off. But I had no idea. Like redshirt freshman year was rough. Like I'm not playing. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. I'm like, but I was never like, I'm just going to transfer it away. Like that was never in my mind. I was like, I'm going to stick here and I'm going to grind and I'm going to, compete. And Christian ended up transferring to Pitt. And it was really just me and Drew, and Drew had already had game experience from his freshman year. So I was like, okay, like I'm just going to keep competing like every day, and see what happens. And I had no plan. Like I didn't know I was going to end up playing as much as I did my redshirt freshman year as the backup, but I did. And that was awesome to gain experience. And then each year just, playing in every game last year was, that was big for me. Yeah.
What's the biggest thing you learned from Drew Allar?
Biggest thing I learned, I think the way he handled himself coming in when he came in, like the whole campus was buzzing.
Yeah, superstar,
like 5-star, really talented dude, big dude. But like, you wouldn't know it. Like the dude he's just so humble, and I think that was big to learn from, because I wasn't expecting that when he came in. Like, you just hear like, oh man, he's such a good player, like big time. I thought he was going to, be like, oh, big ego. That's like the complete opposite of him. So I think like just humility from him, and he's still very humble, very respectful, super nice kid. So
did you ever feel like when you were at Penn State, being like a hometown kid that goes to Penn State, especially from this area, like York Daily Records, reporting on your practice day every single day? Like I always felt like when I was there, being from the Harrisburg area and going to Penn State in Pennsylvania, like there was constant eyeballs on like what's going on, how are you going to perform, constant articles about it. If you don't start in your first 2 years, people are talking about it back at home. Did you feel like there was this like bubble of just being, the fact that everyone around here is a Penn State football fan, like lives and breathes it, that it almost adds an extra element of pressure to you? Or did that just not even cross your mind at all? You were just happy to be competing and be there?
I don't think it was pressure. Yeah. I think it was just like overwhelming support. Like, after every game, people were always like, man, like we love this guy. Like we're behind you. And it was awesome. Just that's the kind of fan base that Penn State was for, a home state kid like me. So it was just support. All I felt was support, really.
One of the things when I would talk to people in the program at Penn State about you, like everyone raves about you as a person and as a leader, and Coach Franklin and your teammates, and everyone just talks about, even though you weren't the starting quarterback, and even though you were competing a lot of the time, like people just loved you at Penn State, and people say he's a Penn State guy and like great family. And what was it about the way that you carried yourself there that you feel like when you left that place that everyone, no one obviously wanted you to leave, and that everyone had so much respect for you and is probably rooting for you at the next place you go because of the impact you made at Penn State?
Yeah, I think really, like I became best friends with, guys that will be, in my wedding, years down the road, because like it was really just that, like the off the field culture, just building the culture and becoming a leader, even though I was the backup. Like I think that was really what it was, and just my work ethic. I was always striving to be the hardest worker in the building. And I think, guys realize that, and guys gain respect for guys who can do that. So I think that's where kind of the respect came from. And I didn't even realize it, how much my teammates appreciated me and everything until I left. Like I remember it was like kind of controversial when I left. Like I had to leave before the playoffs. And I still remember that day where it was a Sunday, the week before SMU, the first round of the playoffs. And I practiced that day. Like I didn't even know I was going to transfer. So I had just come down from Coach Franklin's office. Like we've had finally come to a decision where I was like, okay, like I'm going to have to move on, and I can't play in this game, unfortunately. And I got to pack my stuff up. And that was a crazy feeling, being there for 3 years. But I'll never forget, like, there were guys left over in the locker room getting, recovering, whatever, showers. And I remember it was like Zane Durant, Jalen Reed, Dennis Sutton. I went up to them and I was like, guys, like, I'm transferring and I have to leave right now. Like, I appreciate you guys for everything. Just want to say goodbye and everything. And I was like kind of nervous. I was like, man, like, I don't know if they're going to like be like, man, like screw this guy. Like he's leaving us right before the playoffs. But I'll never forget, like, they weren't just supportive of me. Like they were so excited for me and my future. Like I was in the shower with Denai, and like we were taking a shower, and he was like, man, like, I'm so excited for you. He's like, and I'm like showering. I'm like, thanks, man. Like, I'm like over here, like real sad. And stuff. Like, this is my last like few minutes in the facility. He's like, no, Beau, like, look at me, man. Like, I'm like so excited for you. Like, everybody knows it. Like, the whole team knew. Like, we're just so excited for your future. Like, I can't wait to see what you do. And it, like, they don't realize how much that meant to me in that moment. Like, just couldn't mean more to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Was I guess you mentioned those conversations with Coach Franklin and coming to that conclusion. Take me through your mindset throughout that season and deciding. Obviously, Drew Allar being the starter and him deciding if he's going to come back or not. At what point did you start to realize, hey, if I want to do what's best for me and my family, I may have to consider what other opportunities are out there in college football?
Yeah. It all happened really fast because we just played in the Big Ten Championship versus Oregon, and there was zero thought about transferring, like zero. Like I was like, I can't wait to play in the playoffs.
People are probably telling you should transfer. Like I'm not transferring.
No, I was like, we got a home seat playoff game in Beaver Stadium. Like, it's gonna be awesome. Like I can't wait. And it wasn't until my family called me, which they usually do like once a week, and I remember like my family, my brother. They were like, Beau, like the transfer portal is open right now. And like this is all going to happen really fast. And we really think that you should consider transferring. And they were like, I don't know how that is going to impact you playing in these games or whatever, but like you should really think about it and you should talk to the coaches. Like we think that, it's tough for you and through your lens right now, like you're a team first and everything. But they were like, we're going to be selfish for you right now. Like, you should really consider transferring. And I was like, I was just instantly pretty emotional. Like I hadn't thought about it at all. And it's kind of becoming a reality. And then I had to, go to Coach Franklin. And the first few meetings that we had a couple meetings, like the first few meetings we had, it was fine. Like Coach Franklin was so supportive. He was like, listen, like I can reach out to these coaches for you. Like any school that you're interested in, I'll reach out to them and I'll tell them that like, he's a great fit for you. Like he's thinking about transferring, but he wants to finish the playoffs first, so he's not going to officially enter the transfer portal. So that's what we were going to do. And because I couldn't be in the transfer portal and be on the team at the same time. That was just like, I understood. Like, that was a team rule. Like it would have been too much of a distraction. So I couldn't do that. But again, like just thinking about it more, it was like these spots are getting filled. Like it's quarterback. Like there's only one quarterback on the field at a time. And it was like, I need to find a good spot. Like I need to go on visits. It was rough. Like it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Like making that decision and leaving the team before the playoffs. It was not something I wanted to do, but in order to find a spot, I wasn't sure how long, I was like, me and Coach Franklin were like, this season realistically is going to go into January. I don't even know if I can enroll in a school before the season's over. It was just like horrible timing. And I hope it's getting fixed. It's like free agency during the playoffs. It's insane. But it was just a really difficult spot that I had to be in. It was just super unfortunate.
Do you feel like the system didn't even really give you a choice?
No. Like,
it wasn't really
if I waited, I would have found a spot maybe. Like that was okay. But there's no way I would have found a school that actually, was good for me and fit me and would have been the best decision for me. It was just, I was put in an impossible decision. It was like, I didn't know what to do. It was rough.
Yeah. What's Coach Franklin like during that process and those meetings? And, it's a really tough emotional decision and time, and having a head coach who actually understands it from your vantage point is, I think, probably pretty rare and I'm sure very helpful.
Yeah. Like I said, he offered to call head coaches for me for other schools. Like, unbelievable support. Like, I was just taken back by how much he supported me, and it meant a lot to me. But he was upset that, obviously I was leaving Penn State, didn't want to leave Penn State. He was frustrated too, like at the system. He's like, it shouldn't be like this. Like athletes shouldn't be forced to make decisions like this. But a lot of thinking, like I said, a lot of meetings. It was a process a little bit. It all happened fast, but like there's a lot of meetings where Coach Franklin was kind of just sitting there, just thinking, like, it's like, man, just trying to think of solutions. But no, he was so supportive of me, and can't thank him enough for that.
So was watching the playoff games tough?
Oh my gosh.
Did you watch them?
Yeah. I was at Ole Miss, and I was sitting in a quarterback meeting with like Jackson Dart and the guy, and I was like, I wasn't listening to a word. Like I was like, all right, I got to go to the bathroom. And I watched TV. I was watching on TV. Like I had to step out of the meeting. I was like, I can't just sit in here while my guys are playing. Dom DeLuca got a pick 6, and I was like, let's go.
Yeah,
but
crazy play.
It was tough. It was tough. Yeah.
Damn. What? So then the recruiting process after that. I mean, once you enter the portal, floodgates are open. You're one of the top. I think you were the top quarterback in the portal, or at least one of the top ones. What's the first 24 hours like when your name hits the portal and on 3 reports that you're transferring?
It was insane. It was like, my brother's calling me. He's like, you got to come home. Like, we got to get on a flight right now. Like, pack some stuff. Like, the plan was to go to Wisconsin, like, right away. Mm-hmm. But like I said, like, spots were closing like that. Like, next thing you know, it's like, okay, we're not going to Wisconsin anymore because they just got a quarterback. Yeah. So I was like, okay, never mind. We're going here, and then there, and then there, and then there, right? Like, boom, 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 boom. Because then the window's going to close right before Christmas. So it was like, on the road, like, let's, scout the schools that we want to take visits to and we're most interested in, and go there and see and talk to the offensive coordinator.
What were the visits you ended up doing? You said Ole Miss.
I ended up going to Mizzou, obviously, UCF, Ole Miss, Iowa. And I was supposed to go to Indiana, but that one got canceled. But those were the ones.
Yeah. Did it remind you of high school a little bit?
No.
You weren't that highly recruited in high school. You're like, this is what it feels like?
Yeah, it was much different. Like in high school, I committed, like I said, before my junior year. Yeah. No schools were like, I was just committed. COVID happened. In high school, I took one visit. Mm-hmm. I went to Penn State on like an official. And then now I was like, oh man, like this is stressful, and tiring, exhausting. It was much different. But like what was different from high school is like, in high school, you're taking the photo shoots, like, oh, let me see the facilities, stadium. Mm-hmm. When I went on visits to these schools, I was like, I don't want a photo shoot. I don't care about the stadium. Like, I want to talk to the head coach, and I want to talk to the offensive coordinator. And then, like, I'm good. Like, I don't need anything else. I don't need you to take me on a 5-star dinner. Like, I just need to see if I'm a good fit for the offense and a good fit for the program. That was all I wanted. You just mentioned the offense and the program. What were the things that when you went on those visits,
let me start with this actually. Before knowing your brother Cade, I'm sure how involved he was in the process and helping you figure it out. What were the things, like, did you sit down as a family before you started your visits and kind of made like a checklist of like, here's what are we looking for at each school? What are the categories we care about? Like, did you kind of have a process because I mean, you probably have like a week to make a decision, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we did. Like, Cade, my brother, was like, he's like my wingman on this whole thing. Like, he was like, I mean, he's a smart dude. He always has my best interest in mind, even when I don't even realize it. So I listened to him through everything. Like, he was awesome. He's the one who really like set this whole thing up and like did it for me. And it was really just like, number one, an opportunity. Like, what place has the best opportunity for me to, be at my best, be the starting quarterback. So that was number one. Number two was the offensive scheme. What offense puts me in the best situation to succeed and fit my style of running and throwing. And then it was really just like the program. Is it good culture? Are they a good program? Do they win games? Do they have the pieces around? And Missouri ended up being like the perfect one for that.
Yeah. So on your visit to Missouri, take me through the visit. What was it like, and what was the moment you were there? Was there a point where you're like, all right, I want to go to Missouri. Real quick, guys, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor on this podcast, Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to fire on sports. I've tried all the different apps, sports books, daily fantasy. Prize Picks is the way. On Prize Picks, you're picking players instead of teams. So if you know sports like I do, you can make a bunch of money, especially with the free $50 bonus. So the code NEXTUP or the link in my description. All you gotta do is deposit $5. You get a free $50 in your account that you can use, go 10x, 100x, turn it into whatever you want. Code NEXTUP, $50 bonus, link in description. Let's go.
When I first entered the portal and like, okay, we're going to Missouri, I had no idea really. I knew they were a good team. Like they had like won 10 games the past 2 seasons. I remember they beat Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl.
Brady Cook.
I knew Brady Cook. Like he's similar kind of athletic quarterback that I was, but I had no idea what other than that. I was like, I don't know anything about Missouri. So I was like, yeah, I'll go to Missouri. Like, I'll check it out. I heard it's like, they're a good program. I went there and I was like, first thing's like, wow, they have really nice facilities. Like, I went in there. It's like, I'm taking an elevator to the 4th floor to talk to Coach Drake.
All of a sudden you care about the facility.
Oh, yeah. I was like, wow, this is kind of nicer than Penn State. Like, what? And I was like, okay. But it was really just getting with Coach Drink, the head coach, hanging out with him. And then Kirby Moore, the offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore's younger brother. Kellen Moore's the head coach of the Saints now. But like I said, it was really just those two things, like, am I a good fit? And, like, met with the offensive coordinator for a while, like, hour, 2-hour meeting, just talking about scheme and stuff like that. And I was like, that's pretty good. Like, that's kind of what I want right here. Like, this OC is dialed. They have a really good football team, and they have a really good football program going on an upward trajectory. And I was like, I'm going to take these other visits to compare and contrast and see, but like, I don't know. Like, it's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah. At what point did you commit?
Right after all my visits were over. I think it was right before Christmas. Yeah.
And you had to probably speed that up to make sure you didn't lose a spot.
Yeah. It was a tough decision, but I was like, okay, I think it's Missouri. And as soon as I was like, boom, it's Missouri, I got to call the head coach right now and be like, I'm committed. Because like,
out of all the other visits, was there one that was like the closest to kind of being the runner-up?
It's tough to say, but I think Iowa was probably like the second one that was close to fitting the criteria I had. Yeah. Much different experience. I was like, love Coach Ferentz. He was awesome through the whole process. I was like, you walk in that facility, it's like it's frozen in time. There's like oak wood everywhere. It's like all the coaches have been there for 40 years, but it was cool. Like they have a great culture there, but it was much different. Yeah.
Coach Drink at Missouri's got some swag. He's
got swag.
Tough. He's tough. I've seen some.
He's got a chip on his shoulder. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I interviewed Brady Cook, I think a year or two ago, and he was telling me about stories about him, and he just sounds like an awesome head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like a true players coach. So you make the decision to go to Missouri. I'd imagine though that, I mean, there's a lot of, I don't want to say distraction, but a lot of like non-football things going on for you during that time, right? You're dealing with the portal and all these different conversations. How did you kind of stay locked into the bigger picture and making sure you can get right back into ball mode as soon as you make that decision?
Yeah, well, Missouri had an early spring ball. Like we started end of February, so it was a quick turnaround. Like got there in mid-January. It was like spring ball's a month, but it wasn't hard at all. Like I was so locked in. Like I have been ever since. Like ever since I left Penn State, nothing's mattered to me more than being the best that I can be and being the best quarterback for this team this year. Because I got 2 years left, and I want to have no regrets. Like I want to be the best I can be.
Yeah. A big piece that was very publicly talked about was your NIL situation at Missouri. It got reported like right after you signed up. I'm sure you're like, how does that stuff leak out? But got reported that you signed a multi-million-dollar NIL deal at Missouri, which, at this point, standard for an SEC quarterback. When you're making the decision, I think I try to like give fans a behind the scenes of how this stuff actually happens in college football. When you're making your decision to go to Missouri, at what point does the NIL piece come into play? Because I'm sure that's a factor at every school now. I mean, it's a business, and you got to protect yourself. And how do those kind of negotiations go down with whether it's the collective or the school or whoever you're talking to?
Yeah, Like I said, my criteria was
Football.
What it was. I didn't care about
And
that.
Cade's like, we got to get you paid.
Yeah. Cade and my agent on the other hand, they were like, that was different. Like, but I had zero conversations about money with anybody. Like that was, thankfully, like I don't want to talk about that stuff. Like I don't have interest in doing that. But like my agent, Cade, whatever, would just talk to the team GMs and they would work it out. I didn't know what was going on really. But I was like, that's good. Like, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll play football for free. I love it, but you know what? I'll take it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What was it kind of surreal to like sign that first contract or the NIL deal? Were you like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Just getting paid at all to play football. I mean, it's awesome. Like, I think it's great for players. You know, I think they deserve it. But it was pretty crazy. It was pretty nuts.
Yeah. When you got to Missouri, early spring ball, what's the biggest thing that kind of surprised you when you got there? You mentioned the facilities, but anything that was like, man, like SEC football, it's a little different.
I don't think anything really surprised me. It was kind of what I expected. You know, we have a great team. It was different because I'm used to Penn State where they don't really have many transfers or new players. But when I first got to Mizzou, I was one of like a lot of new players. Like we had a lot of transfers and a lot of early enrollees, freshmen. So that was a little bit different. Like I wasn't the only new one. So it was like a little bit of a learning curve for everybody. But like Missouri is kind of used to getting a good amount of new players each year. So I was kind of surprised at like how quickly Coach Drink was able to kind of get a team to cohesively get together and learn the playbook so fast, and it was pretty smooth in the spring. I was surprised how smooth it was.
What was spring practice like compared to other spring balls you've been through?
I think in the past, you know, spring ball is like, oh, it's, you know, Drew's taking all the ones and everything. Like, okay. But this time it was like, oh, boom. Like I'm getting thrown in there, I'm taking ones, like, and it went really well. And I was like, this was fun. Like I felt no pressure at all, you know, and that was the best part. Like the playbook came really easy to me, so I wasn't stressing over that. I was just out there slinging it and having fun. So spring ball is a lot of fun. I can't wait for fall camp too.
Yeah. Would you say it's the most fun you've had playing football in a while?
I think so. Yeah. Just because I'm older now and like the things that I used to worry about, like the playbook and everything, being young and like having a lot of responsibilities don't really affect me anymore because I've been through it, you know?
Now that you're 22, if you could go back and talk to like 18-year-old Beau Pribula going to Penn State, what's advice you would give him?
I'd say keep doing what you're doing. Like take it day by day, you know, keep trusting in God. Like he's got a plan for you. Just stick to it. You don't have to worry about anything. Don't worry about what anybody else says. Believe in yourself and have confidence in yourself. Like if I were talking to my 18-year-old self, I'd be like, you don't have enough confidence. Like you're really good at this sport. Like just believe in yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I feel like a lot of young players struggle with actual like internal belief that they're good enough or and there's a lot of external factors like playbook and injuries and a lot of things go into it. I feel like that's a big thing. I struggled with it when I remember like getting to Penn State and thinking to myself, you know, I saw all these other tight ends that were like way bigger and faster and stronger, and I didn't know the playbook that well. And I'm like, I'm a 5-star recruit. Like, I'm not sure I'm a 5-star. I feel like a lot of guys struggle with that. Yeah. This season at Missouri, you have some goals written down yet? Are you a goal guy? Like, do you write down what you want to achieve, or are you kind of day by day process that we're oriented?
Yeah, I haven't written them down yet, but I'm a big believer in like writing stuff down, writing goals down. So not yet, but I will. But I am just like a day by day guy too. Like each day, how can I be the best version of myself? I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah. What so when you think about, you know, the next 2 years, you said you have 2 years left. How will you view success? Like how, in 2 years, when you look back on your time at Missouri, what would make you say, okay, like it was a great decision and it was a successful time to end my college career?
I think a success for me would just be seeing myself being at my full potential. Like I know right now in my head, I can see what that is. I know what that looks like. And I think just meeting that, just being my true authentic self and like playing loosely, playing confident and having no regret, you know, I think that's what would make it successful.
What are Missouri fans getting in you?
I think just
a dog.
No, just, I mean, a playmaker. Like, I'm a spark. You know, when I went in for Penn State, you were getting a spark out of me. And when I had to take over, you know, I'd do anything I can to win. You know, I love winning and I hate losing. So whatever that is, like, I don't care. If I have to throw it every single play, I will. If I have to run it every single play, I will. I don't care what it is. If I have to go in and play free safety, I'll play free safety. I just want the team to win because I love playing football and I love winning. So
yeah, you mentioned being a spark. I always thought it was interesting, almost kind of crazy at some points that, you know, you were such a good player at Penn State, and Coach Franklin and Kotelnicki and all these people realized it to the extent that they were willing to take Drew out of the game and put you in the game in like significant moments in the game.
yeah.
And I remember I would be like sitting around or watching with people, and, you know, that like hardcore football people like that believe you should only have one quarterback
Right,
ever.
yeah.
Like, why are we taking him out of the game? You know, when you would come in.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking to myself, there must be a huge stack of proof that these coaches see that Beau is a dog in order to do that. Or or it wouldn't even be like, if it was even like a question, it just wouldn't happen. You wouldn't go in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, those are the critical moments that
Yeah.
you must have proved something to everybody that like you didn't. It wasn't that you deserved to get the snaps. It's like they needed to give you snaps.
No, yeah.
The best thing for the team, right?
That's why there was a lot of pressure though, because like I was like,
you
if
only
I
get a few shots.
if I go in here for the couple plays that I got and I mess it up, like they're not going to put me in again. Like we have one of the best quarterbacks in college football out there already. Like we don't need this guy to come in here and mess it up. So that was a lot of pressure. But no, I mean, honestly, like I'm a believer in one quarterback. Like,
You're like, you sure?
when I see teams, like there's some cool things you can do with two quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like having guys quarterback go on and off. Like I kind of messed with the flow. Like I'm sorry, Drew. Like if I messed up your flow in the game, like I'm sorry. But no, I'm blessed that they did that because I think it was successful. You know, I think they were very strategic about it. You know, like I said, like you can't mess up a starting quarterback's flow. But there were some, you know, cool things that we did. I think that made the offense better.
What were you doing on the sideline if you maybe had like 2 quarters where you weren't in the game, then like that there's a chance that were they giving you a heads up like, hey Beau, like stay like on this drive, we may use this package? Like, did you kind of know when it could be coming, or were you just standing there like waiting to go in every moment?
I mean, I was with my quarterback coach, Danny O'Brien.
Yeah.
Like he was like, you got to be by me at all times, like right here, like right next to me, connected to me. And I would just know when to go in by personnel, so they would call the personnel, and Danny would get it in his headset. You know, the offense coordinator calling it before the signalers would yell it out. And every play after every play, I just look at Danny. I look at Danny, am I going in? And then Danny would be like this. He'd be like, go, you're in. Boom, I'd run on the field like. But it was tough. Like it's tough, especially late in the year. I'm cold. Like I haven't thrown it since pregame warmups. Like, who knows? It was tough though.
That's funny. With all the coaches you've had in your career now, I mean, at Penn State, you had Danny O'Brien and Kotelnicki and Yursich and all these different guys. What's the best advice you've received from a coach?
Best advice I've received from coaches. I remember it was during last season, and we were in practice. And I made a bad play or something. I made a bad decision, something like that. And it was just like kind of out of character. And I remember my quarterback's coach was like, just be you, man. Like everybody has their different style. Like you have a specific style of play that fits you really well and you're really good at it. Like don't try to be something you're not. Like just be Beau. And I think that's something that I was like, yeah, like I'm just gonna be me and act instinctually.
Yeah. Do you think about that before like big moments sometimes now? Like before practice at Missouri, you thinking like just be Beau today?
Yeah. Like I feel like now, like when you get to college, you know, you were yourself in high school. Like you were the man. Like you could do no wrong. Once you get to college, like you're getting ripped, like for not being something that you're supposed to be. I think sometimes like quarterbacks, like young quarterbacks, they struggle with that. Like I'm supposed to be this mold that my coach wants me to be. And some coaches are better, you know, or not at letting their players be themselves. Some coaches really want like a cookie cutter guy.
Yeah.
And I think that can mess with you a little bit. And like at the end of the day, everybody's different, and you just got to be yourself.
Yeah. We talked about the NIL money a little bit, but I wanted to ask about what you're doing with that money, like your strategy. I mean, you've come across a lot of money at a young age now, and knowing you, I'm sure you have a plan and the support system around you to handle it. You know, how are you viewing, you know, kind of creating wealth long term and investing and things like that? Are you excited about that stuff?
Yeah. I mean, the answer is nothing. I mean, I'm doing investments and stuff, but as far as like spending money on materialistic items and stuff like that, I have no interest in that.
As you're wearing the essential shirt.
Oh, I mean, it was free. It was a gift. Actually, like it pains me to see, I think it's kind of like a problem in college football too.
No doubt.
Like guys buy sports cars, jewelry, clothing, blowing all this well-deserved money that they're getting. Mm-hmm. And it's like, man, like I've had teammates where it's like, oh, I got the sports car and all these clothes and jewelry. And it's like April, it's like I have to pay 30 to 40% of what I earned all year in taxes. Yeah. Like I don't have it. And it's like, man, like that's just like or they leave college and they have nothing. Mm-hmm. And that's really disappointing to see. And that is the number one thing that I wanted to stay away from. Like the first thing when I signed the contract, I was like, I'm going to be smart with this money. Like I'm not going to spend a dime. Like I'm going to invest all of it. And thankfully, I'm around smart businessmen every day. Mm-hmm. My brother is one. The facility owner right now, Jeff and Johnny Inch, like super successful in business. And, you know, right away I was like, I don't know much about it right now. I'm new to this thing, but like I'm going to trust the people that do, and I'm going to let them help me. So I've invested in real estate already, and you know, a good chunk of it, and just really listening to everything that they have to say because they have a lot of experience with it. And other than that, you know, I'm using my stipend to pay for food. Like I was in Chipotle like a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, man, they didn't put enough chicken on this burrito. My brother's like, get double chicken. And I was like, costs more money. And he was like, are you kidding me, man? Like, come on. Like I'm a little stingy, but like, no, seriously, like I want to be smart with it because I've seen guys like just blow it away, and it's sad. Yeah,
it's I've seen, and you've invested in some different projects in real estate with Inch & Co., with your brother. I think you and I both have invested in the University Park Townhomes project that Inch & Co. is doing at State College. So like, you know, supporting a project there as well where we both went to school. Have you, like, do you get interested in that stuff though? Like, do you enjoy real estate? Do you enjoy learning about investing? Or are you more like, hey, I'm making the money playing football, I'm putting it over here, I'm trying to keep this to set me up for the future, but maybe not as much like in the weeds of it, of what's actually going on?
I had zero interest in January. Like
until you made money.
Yeah, like I didn't care about anything but football.
Yeah.
And I still really just only care about football, to be honest. But earning this money has kind of forced me to be interested in it. And learn all about it and everything like that. So one thing that is good from college athletes earning money, I think kind of forces you to mature quickly and think strategically with your money. So yeah, I've became more interested in real estate and investing and all that kind of stuff because I kind of have to.
Yeah. You feel like you were always a competitor? Like since you were a young age? What was it like you and Cade growing up? Were you guys competing all the time?
Growing up with Cade was awesome. Like having an older brother who was also a really good athlete and really good quarterback. It was like I was in a quarterback competition for my whole life up until college because he was really good. You know, he's all-state player in high school.
Delaware.
Yeah. And he was smart too. So, you know, he took me under his wing. I mean, he's just awesome. He's taken me under his wing and everything. Like, I talk about investing and everything, but we were competitive. I mean, one of my favorite stories to tell is like we used to, you know, line up the couches in our family room, make them into a square, like boxing ring, take the covers from our golf clubs, put them on, and just my sister would record. She would be the announcer, and we'd like just go at it, like just punching on each other. Like just growing up with an older brother is awesome. It makes you tough.
That's cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. And your family's been, I know, super important to you, but I imagine one of the coolest parts of going through your time at Penn State, the transfer process, visiting schools, is probably that your family gets to come along for the ride too, right? Is that like I always thought that, especially when I was getting recruited in high school and some of the things I've done, like the coolest thing is when like my dad gets to come along, my brother gets to come along on these visits where they wouldn't have had that experience elsewhere.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite things that makes me the most happy is just making them proud, really. Just like seeing the joy that playing in college and like just being, you know, a high profile athlete brings to my grandfather and my grandmother. It's just like, I love it. You know, you know, they live through me, and it's just awesome to see, like, every day, you know, I just want to make them proud, and it's really awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Penn State, when you reflect on your time at Penn State, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
The relationships that I built there. It was just an awesome place, awesome program. The guys on those teams, we had an unbelievable culture. We were always together outside of football. And like I said, like, those guys will be my, you know, best friends for the rest of my life. Really just the relationships I built there and living out a childhood dream, you know, scoring touchdowns for Penn State in big games and, you know, wearing that uniform, really.
Yeah. You feel like you have a chip on your shoulder heading into 2025?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Tell me about it.
You know, we talked about it earlier. You know, and I understand, like, people, you know, unless you're really a Penn State fan and follow it closely, you know, they're kind of like, who is this guy? Like, I know number 9 for Penn State went in there and did gimmicky stuff, but, you know, I think I just have a lot to prove, and that I understand. Like, people aren't there at practice or anything like that, but I'm just kind of excited to be myself and show the player that, you know I can be.
Yeah. If people only watched you at Penn State, what are they about to see at Missouri that they haven't seen yet?
Just what I can do if I'm in there every single play with the full offensive scheme at my fingertips. You know, it's something that I never had. It's always, you know, it's usually a run or something like that. But, you know, being able to get into a rhythm and be a full-time starter, it's different, you know, than being, you know, more like a wildcat quarterback. So I'm excited for Penn State fans to see that too.
The thing I'm excited to see with you is, yes, there's benefit to taking every snap. You get in a rhythm, you can throw the football, show what you can do. But there's also, especially at quarterback, like, you can elevate everyone around you just with your personality, with your persona, with the way that you elevate a program. And I think being around you and from talking to people that have been around you a lot, I'm excited to see how you elevate that program.
Yeah.
And how it's more than just the fact that you can get in a rhythm and play every snap. True. It's that when you are in there every single play and you're the leader of the program, that you know, everyone else rises with you. Do you feel that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't even think my teammates at Mizzou really realize it yet, but, like, in the heat of the game, like, I'm pretty fiery. Like, I love to get after it. Like, I like playing quarterback, but I love playing football. Yeah. Like, I love running and hitting and just, like, out there every play with the guys. And, like, I don't know if they've really realized that yet, but, like, I'm a fiery competitor, and, like, I'm gonna bring you along with me too, because I can't win by myself. Like, we all need to do this together.
You're a true football guy.
Oh yeah.
Would you run out on kickoff if they wanted you to?
I did in middle school. Got a tackle. I'll do anything. Yeah.
Start returning kicks.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's awesome. Finish this sentence for me. Beau Pribula's story is just getting started because why?
Because I have a new opportunity at a new school, and I'm just, you know, ready to get going.
Yeah, love it. What's your why? What's the reason you do what you do every day? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you wake up?
I talked about my family a little bit. That's part of the reason. I think another reason is just, like, when I think about my younger self, like, this is just what I've dreamed of doing my whole life. I've worked my whole life to get in this position, and it's really just something that I've always wanted to do. And if my younger self could see where I'm at today, he'd be pretty proud. But, you know, I want to make him really proud. You know, that's really what, you know, why I do what I do. Yeah,
I love it, man. I love it. Well, this has been one more thing I would ask you. I forgot, but at Penn State, who's the best athlete you ever saw in person?
Ooh, there's a lot of good athletes at Penn State.
I thought this would be a good question. I want to put you on the spot here a little bit, because here's the thing: no matter what, someone's going to get pissed, because I'm going to clip this and make it a clip. Yeah. And so,
I mean, it's such an.
You can name multiple if you want.
Well, I'd say overall athlete. I mean, a lot of people know this now, but Tyler Warren.
Yeah,
probably.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
I mean,
but that's because he's your friend. You got to.
He is my friend, but, like, think about it. He's like 6'6", 2 whatever, like all state in baseball, all state in basketball, hurdles people, like unreal on the golf course.
Is he good?
Don't clip that, because he'll probably he's a good golfer. Like, but yeah, he's just an overall stud, like just built to play football.
Are you a good golfer?
I'm pretty good, yeah.
Like, what's pretty good?
Well, I golfed for the first time in a year the other week. It wasn't a scramble, but like I'll probably golf like when I'm going, I'll probably like low 90s, high 80s.
Is your brother a good golfer?
He's pretty good. He's probably not as good as he says he is.
Better than you?
No, he's not.
No shot?
No.
I love it. Well, Beau, this has been fun, man. I've enjoyed talking to you. It's been cool to follow your career. I'm excited for Penn State fans to hear this, but also for Missouri fans to get to know you a little bit. And I have no doubt that you're going to have a huge season and a great 2 years at Missouri in the SEC.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome.
Next up.